Okay, I'm here to talk to you about how tension or excess of tension is the biggest wrecker of any golf swing. You can be practicing all you want and hitting the ball great, but if you find that you've got an excess of tension, perhaps it's the pressure of the moment, the event you're playing in, people watching who you don't know, all can add layers of tension that will be the single biggest wrecker. As it says on the whiteboard here, excess tension is the biggest wrecker of any golf swing. Now today I'm going to focus on chipping. And what I can see a lot of when I see people chip is they've not got a bad action, but when they put the club in the way of the ball, we see like a jerky movement, a hurry to hit the ball, and that is caused by tension. So how can we get rid of that tension? I've got a few tips here for you, just really simple ones. First of all, I want you to be aware of how tight you're holding the club. If you see things in colours, perhaps you could give it a colour. Just sense your fingers in the rubber of the grip. If it's really tight, I would see it as a deep, like blood red colour. Really light grip pressure, perhaps too light to keep control of the club, might be a white. Just have a little think about it before you play the shot. As you take your setup, can you sense how much pressure you're exerting into the grip of the club? If you prefer, don't use colours, instead use numbers. 1 is extremely light, 10 would be really, really tight. And you don't need to change it straight away. Just take your setup and just create an awareness of it. Before you can change anything, you at first have to be aware of what it is. And then perhaps experiment changing until you find your ideal. And then when you're playing the shot, you could just focus on feeling that 3 or 4. Or in my case, picturing the yellow colour running through the grip. Some other things you can do, and these are things I really like. For your actual swing technique, believe it or not, I want you to hum. So as you're making the swing, if you hum, if you just come in a little bit closer, Chris, so you can hear this. So as you swing, I want you to start humming and focus on emitting that hum and listening to it throughout. So it's something like this. And if you could hear that, I made a constant hum all the way through. Go to the ball and do the same thing, and just listen carefully if you can. So there, I felt I managed to keep the hum a pretty constant all the way through, but a lot of my pupils that come with chipping problems, it sounds something like this. And there's a real spike in the hum. Even some people stop humming altogether. And when I ask them, did you hear what happened? They say, no. And the reason they didn't hear it is they focused on hitting the ball instead of just continuing to emit the hum. Give that one a go, folks. It will be extremely revealing. I believe the hum is like a barometer for your internal performance pressures. If you can't emit the hum, things have got so tight that you just can't let that hum noise out. Have a little go with it. Have a bit of fun with it. Perhaps on your own on the range. Try some chip shots where you hum all the way through. One final tip for today for your chipping is to try just chipping with one hand. So you're just going to put your other hand behind your back. You can try it with the right hand and you can try it with the left hand. And the idea of this is with one hand on the club, you've got to just swing the weight of that golf club. If you are in a hurry to hit the ball, if you're swiping at it, it's a bit like the chain on a swing. If we hurried the swing down, the chain would all wobble and we'd see people trying to chip in it like this. Instead, remember this saying, you've got to swing the weight of the club. So I'll try it with my left hand this time. Little practice swing. When I get up to here, I just feel the weight in that club head is starting the club down and I'm not in a hurry to hit the ball. Just swing the weight of the club. So there we go, folks. There's my tips on how you can be aware of the amount of tension in your golf swing on chipping, and some little drills there that can help you to change that tension, to become aware of it. So we're starting off with the humming and then swinging with just one hand on the club, where you've got to swing the weight of the club.